ratings have absolutely collapsed. There's 50, 60,000 people watching these unrivaled basketball games. Last year, I think 200, 300, 400,000 people were watching. It is horrendous product. Horrendous product. And it's not surprising to me that
right now, Unrivaled is pulling only about 60,000 viewers, a shocking number for a 3-on-3 women's basketball league founded by two of the WNBA's biggest stars, Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart. That figure can barely match the audience of a mid-tier college game. Even more alarming, last year the league was drawing nearly 300,000 viewers. This is a simple dip in interest. It's a full-blown collapse. What makes the situation even more damaging is that these same two players are also leading the WNBA's collective bargaining negotiations while simultaneously operating a competing league, a conflict that raises serious questions about priorities and leadership at a critical moment for the sport.
It's embarrassing for women's sports. They've been out running their mouth, and now what we're witnessing is the Nafisa Collier, Breanna Stewart, the own players in the WNBA are causing the collapse of the WNBA, causing the collapse of women's sports. This is an inside job by the actual players in women's athletics. They are destroying themselves. And
here's where the situation becomes truly uncomfortable. Over the past year, the WNBA has watched its own players actively work against the league's interests. Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart weren't simply launching a side project. They were positioning themselves as an alternative to what they openly labeled as incompetent WNBA leadership. Collier even directly criticized Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, suggesting that she and her husband could run the league better than the current administration. That wasn't just confidence. It was a direct challenge to the very people signing the paychecks. Now, those same paychecks are on the table in critical CBA negotiations, with Collier leading the players' union demands, creating an undeniable conflict and raising serious questions about power, priorities, and the future of the league.
Woman queens of the world, woman kings of the world, they are actually destroying themselves. So the unrivaled collapse of their ratings speaks to, like, hey, man, no one really wants to watch this crap. It's just making it clear as day. And all the people in the media that have been pretending like, man, did you look at the WNBA?
Have you stopped to consider the optics for a moment? From the WNBA's perspective, ownership groups are trying to determine whether the league is a viable long-term investment by analyzing attendance figures, broadcast deals, and merchandise sales. At the same time, two of the league's marquee players launch a competing product, publicly criticize league leadership, and then, when that new league struggles in its second year, turn around and demand guaranteed seven-figure salaries from the WNBA. The audacity is almost impressive, because what this really reveals is a fundamental misunderstanding of leverage and how power actually works in professional sports negotiations.
Brought this whole thing to life. It was all a gimmick and a lie. Caitlin Clark injected life into the WNBA, into women's basketball, and into women's sports. She's been the most impactful athlete that we've seen since Michael Jordan.
Now, let's talk about what actually happened with Caitlin Clark, because this is where the unrivaled ratings collapse reveals something critical about women's basketball. Clark helped take the WNBA from niche programming into mainstream conversation. Her Iowa games were drawing bigger audiences in some NBA playoff matchups, and her rookie season fueled a 48% increase in overall WNBA attendance. The Indiana Fever alone jumped from averaging roughly 4,000 fans per game to nearly 17,000. These weren't small, incremental gains. This was a complete transformation of the league's visibility and market value. Yet the response from some established players wasn't celebration or collaboration, but jealousy disguised as gatekeeping.